Es difícil separar a Bonnie and Clyde del mito del cine. El cine ha construido muchos mitos y probablemente uno de ellos es Bonnie and Clyde. Cuando se estrenó la película usted tenía 12 años. ¿Recuerda haber ido al cine a ver la película?
Oh yeah, no, I do. I think I remember the theater. It was really exciting, you know, because I was hearing about it, the movie, and I went and I read 2 or 3 books. I read the one, and there was a song that came out, Bonnie and Clyde. So I was, and I enjoyed the movie a lot. It was well acted, but you know, and I didn't think at the time, who does, that we were glorifying it. We were just watching this murder spree, these kids out of control. But they're more than that. We know that now. We should have known it then. But it caused me, very much maybe like you, I immediately went to find books on it. And the graphicness of it. My family was from there, in the panhandle of Oklahoma, and they lost everything in the Dust Bowl. And so they were in those migrant camps. So the area really the era caught my imagination, their life did. It was only in drilling down on the Highwaymen that I realized that the character that was in that particular movie had been really disparaged, to the point that the wife, upon seeing the movie, hired Joe Jamel, who was a famous Texas lawyer, and went and sued Warner Brothers for defamation of her husband's, who her husband was. Says, you don't know my husband at all. My husband's a hero, and won.
¿Usted cree que el cine de ahora es capaz de conseguir todo eso? Mover a la gente como lo hizo en su día. El cine de ahora, el entretenimiento ahora es capaz de conseguir todo eso.
Yeah, we can be misled easily in film. You know, film can do it. A documentary can do it. Documentary is the opinion of one person, and it's the side that he chooses to take. You know, we can be fooled by our newspapers, by our magazines, and we can be fooled by the hot light of glamour. You know, that people still admire people for reasons that they don't know. Maybe if they knew better about the person they're in love with, that perhaps they would find this person would not even give them the time of day as a human being.
Es muy interesante lo que usted ha dicho, que su familia era básicamente el tipo de gente que eran las familias de Bonnie and Clyde. Entonces, se puede decir, sin glorificarlo, un poco justificar el porqué de alguien se dedica al crimen en aquellos años tan duros en Estados Unidos.
I think you can understand. My grandfather didn't do that, and he put money in a bank at 11 o'clock, and the banker, who he knew very well, took his money, and when an hour later, they closed the bank forever. And he knew the banker, and he could have whispered to him, Walter, don't do this, don't do this. And they suffered. They suffered. They never recovered as a family. My grandfather never recovered. He began to drink a lot and everything. He was a very successful person, and some people can't get back. There was no question that people didn't have a lot of feeling about institutions and about banking, and if you take the journalism of the time that kind of made it more sensational than it was, people began to root for it, and I think it was important for us to show that, and we did. You know, but the life was not glamorous. It was filthy. That was unhealthy to be in that car for 3 years. Can you imagine? They were hurt. You know, for myself, being in it 104 days, chasing them, it was not glamorous at all.
Parece en tu trayectoria como actor hay un tema que puede ser la justicia, casi históricamente, desde Robin Hood, Wyatt Earp, Frank Hamer, The Untouchables, Hatfields and McCoys, the justice theme. You know, ¿esto es lo que te motivas o es el hombre bueno, malo, malo, bueno como protagonista y como mito?
The good guy, bad guy represents bad westerns, bad movies. People are more complicated. I'm drawn to those because those people were unusual. Those characters, and Earp and Hammer, these people, and the Devillands and Hatfield, they do things that a lot of us can't do, is that when they feel wronged, they don't have any compulsion about writing it. They don't have the guilt. They don't go looking for the fight, but if they feel wronged, they exact almost a biblical punishment. And they're not built like you or myself. They're characters I play. But I responded because I know hard men. I've been around them, and I know them in history, and they have a thing in common. And they don't hesitate the way normal people hesitate. It's very difficult to be around a criminal. That's why they get the jump on civilized people, because you think you're going to talk them out of who they are, and then it's too late. They have you like a big snake, an anaconda. They've brought you into their trap. And there's people like Frank Hamer that they see them clearly. They see who they are, and before they can do it, they do it. Frank Hamer killed many more people than Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
So he understands killers, and when he sees it, there's a way you deal with them.
Afortunadamente no vivimos en ese mundo. Yendo a la película, hay grandes personajes, y uno de ellos es descubrir que en 1934 Texas tenía una gobernadora, una mujer. Parece que en algunos aspectos, señor Costner, no hemos evolucionado en el buen sentido, en el sentido útil.
I'm not sure it was progress. Her husband was the governor, and when he was found corrupt, she ran, and they made her the governor. I didn't think about that, but you're right. Interesting.
Es interesante. Y algo fantástico que plantea la película que usted nos presenta, y es cómo cambia la historia cuando cambiamos la perspectiva. Si lo vemos desde un punto de vista o lo vemos desde otro, la historia cambia radicalmente, y eso es algo que solamente el cine consigue de una forma tan apabullante.
There can be two sides to every story, and in this instance, you have the violence, and then you have the people that have to clean up the violence and have to catch up. And that is not so glamorous, because lives were forever not the same. 9 policemen were killed, so that means 9 pair of children never had a father. Imagine not having your own father, how your life might have turned out, or your mother. So what happens is the violence, there's a price that comes with it, and it just slips by us. Those people that were killed, we don't invest in them at all. That can be a mistake of movies. That's why I like my violence in movies to be really harsh, and I like for there to be consequences, and I try to do that in the movies I'm in, if I can.
Ha recibido usted la felicitación de la familia del personaje original. ¿Cómo se enfrenta? Gracias, creo que directamente la familia, los bisnietos o tataranietos de su personaje le han felicitado a usted por posicionarse, por contar la verdadera historia. ¿Cómo se siente uno cuando le felicita la historia?
Well, I was surprised. The letter just came to me the night after, and they said something like, thank you for restoring reputation, and then it was like, I thought I was going to see a movie about my grandfather, and then I thought I was watching my grandfather. I don't know how I should feel so good about that, but that was kind of the letter, and I was touched by it. It made me feel good, and their reputation was murdered.
Okay.
In that film, it was murdered.
Yo quiero expresar, quiero decir gracias por hacer tanto para mantener el western en el cine americano. Me da la sensación que tiene algo con un western semi-moderno, y esto me hace preguntar sobre el futuro del western.
Yes, the western will always be alive, but it has to be. But they're more complicated than people give them credit for, and when people just create them with the white and black hat, they will never be interesting to me. There's so many westerns I don't like. I think the great westerns don't depend on the gunfight. They depend on the language, the poetry of it, the Victorian language that was going back and forth, and to try, when they vest in the randomness of who made it and why, and yet people continue to come, and when you try to get under the skin of that, they can flourish. And I have 4 westerns that I want to do. They're all the same story. So it would be a sequel for me, which I haven't done, but I plan on directing that. And again, it's not about the gunfight. It's about the people who just went west and they had to spontaneously make decisions, life and death decisions, random decisions. And every time you can orchestrate one of those moments, the thing that you love sitting in the dark as a man or a woman watching, if you're watching carefully, is you think, I wonder if I would have done that. And when you can put wonder in, if you think that would you have made that decision, when you can do that, that's what you love about the Western. Not being sure what you would do, and then seeing how some people had to do it, and what it took to survive. And these particular 4 Westerns have heavy women in them, meaning really important women's parts. And so it's really important for me to make this. It's probably about 12, 15 hours of Western that I think you'll never get sick of.
Thank you, Mr. Cosno. You are a good actor. You make some amazing movies. You made us better people, better person. Thanks a lot for...
Number one, thank you for saying that. And I feel like the movies have taught me how to try to behave. Not that I know they're not real, but when they create real situations of heroism, of kindness, of empathy, I think to myself, I need to be like that. It's a bit of church. People think the movies are just for excitement, just for entertainment, just whatever, but there's a lot of lessons in life, in characters, that we have the chance to be heroic in our life, in the little things every day and the big things. And so in the dark, if somebody was watching our life, would they want to be us?
Definitely. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.